There are 7 mistakes that you can make if your spouse says, I'm not happy. And I want to go over them because I see this happen over and over again, especially with Christians who are honorable. They're just stuck in their busy lives. If your spouse comes to you and says, I'm not happy, here are the 7 mistakes that you might be making that you need to stop immediately. Number 1, pretend everything is just fine. So many Christians just want to pretend that everything is okay, and they want to just pretend like that conversation never happened. Probably because a lot of times there's been things you haven't talked about for a long time, things you've swept under the rug for years and years. And by the time your spouse is brave enough to say, I'm not happy, the worst thing you can do is just pretend everything is fine. Number 2, the second mistake people make is they shut down. They just allow their emotional state to take over, and they go into a place of shutdown and kind of on autopilot in their life. They stop engaging with their spouse, they stop having conversations, they go through the motions, and they just are in a shutdown mode emotionally, where they are numbing themselves in some way or another. Don't do that. The third mistake people make is they get into blame mode. The minute your spouse says, I'm done, if you're blaming, if you're pointing fingers and saying, well, that's because you don't prioritize the marriage. That's because you work too much. That's because you are not taking me out on dates. That's because you're prioritizing the kids more than me. And you start pointing your fingers, that's a huge mistake to make. Do not blame your spouse. The fourth mistake people make is they get defensive. They say, well, it's not on me, and what did I do, and why are you making this about me? And they turn it around, and you just start defending yourself, right? Rather than truly trying to hear your spouse out and what's going on in their heart. Don't get defensive. The fifth mistake people make, they do nothing. They just ignore it, move on, and try to sweep it under the rug like you have for a lot of other things, right? Doing nothing is the worst thing you can do. That is your wake-up call to take action, to begin nourishing the marriage and learn how to do it differently. The sixth mistake we see people make is they start to withdraw. They pull away from friends and family, they pull away from their spouse, they pull away from their children, and they just kind of turn inward on themselves. They make it about them, and they go into a place of despair or sadness. The seventh mistake we see Christians make when their spouse says, I'm not happy, is you make it mean that the marriage is over already. Well, he's not happy. He's going to leave. We're going to get divorced. That's going to be the end of it. Do not make that mistake. Scott and I have walked with hundreds of couples on the brink of divorce and shown them how to end cycles of conflict, negativity, and disconnection and rebuild a brand new marriage where there's love, there's joy, there's playfulness, and there's connection again. So if you're struggling and if your spouse has said, I'm not happy, I want you to reach out. Send me a DM and let's chat.